This video is about how to make a rubric in Moodle. A rubric is a great tool that both helps your students understand what they should be focusing on and helps you grade quickly. We'll start by looking at how to make a rubric on a brand new assignment. So you create your assignment as usual, putting in the availability and submission types, whatever other information you want to add. To make it a rubric, click on Grade, and under the grading method, select Rubric. Click on Save and Display, and you get two options. Define a new grading form from scratch, or create a new grading form from a template. We'll look at that one later. So we're going to define a new grading form from scratch. It does tell you that until you release the rubric, it will just give you the normal out of 100 grading system. So we have to give it a name, and you can give it a description, but the real meat of it is down here. All you have to do is click and enter your criterion, and your levels of performance. Normally I would have fairly elaborated descriptions, but for this demo, I'm just going to copy and paste some text. And to add a level, you just click on Add Level, and you can have as many as you want. You can add as many criterion as you want. And you can change the points to match whatever you want. The points on each criterion do not need to be the same. You can have higher weighted and lower weighted criterion. They also don't have to be even. So if I only want to have 3 levels for this one, all I have to do is click the X here. It asks me if I really want to delete that level, and I say yes. Now, uneven levels are very, very useful, but make sure you understand how it's going to change the points. There is a formula for that. So if you haven't used different levels for points before, it's probably best to keep them all the same. Then you have several options here. You can order it from lowest points to highest points, or highest points to lowest points. There's an option not to start with a minimum score of 0. That gets into complicated calculations, so I don't recommend it. I do recommend that you allow users to preview it, unless you're using it really as a grading sheet and it has answers in it. You want to see it when you're grading. You should show it to them after the fact so they know how they were graded. This is really a personal preference, whether you want to see the points or you just want to see the levels. And I usually leave this checked so that I can add text remarks. Every now and then I have a very specific comment I want to make to a student. And then if I make those comments, I want the students to see it. And then you can save it as a draft if you're still working on it and you don't want students to be able to see it. But mine's done, so I'm going to save it and make it ready. And there it is, and I can grade with it. You don't have to create a rubric at the moment that you create the assignment. You might have an assignment that you're adding a rubric to, or you may want to get the assignment up for students and throw the rubric on later. If you turned your grading to rubrics but weren't able to create the rubric right away and had to save it and go off and do something else, the way that you get to the rubric maker is to go to the cog icon, the Actions menu, and select Advanced Grading. And this will take you right back to that rubric making page, and you can just do the procedure as before.
What if you want to use a rubric that you've already created? This will tell you how.
So what if you want to use a rubric that you've made for another assignment? We just go to the Advanced Grading section and select that other option, Create New Grading Form from a Template. And right here it says no template found, but that's because you haven't asked it to include your own forms. It would automatically search if we had a giant library of rubrics. And I usually put, if you're using a lot of rubrics, I usually put a word in from the rubric to look for it. And click on Search. And I made a new rubric called Training because I have lots of rubrics that have the word quick in it. And it will show me not just the rubric, but the rubric as attached to each and every assignment I have it attached to. So I might have 15 quick assignment rubrics showing up, and that has to do with the ability to edit different forms. But all I do is scroll down, click on Use this form as a template, and then it asks me if I'm absolutely sure I want to do that. I click on Continue, and it tells me it's ready to use. And this is why it will give you 15 different versions, because you can actually minorly modify it for, or majorly modify it for the specific assignment that you're having students work on.
If you have any questions about making a rubric, please feel free to email us at moodlehelp@berkshirecc.edu.